Hello and thank you for joining the video today. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've tried to find on YouTube and in any other sources on how to drop Schedule 80 drop pipe for deeper wells. This is a 225 foot well, and the other option would be to use the poly pipe, so you do not have, it's one big one line instead of multiple sections of pipe. Everyone I've seen to drop pipe down with fittings, they've used either a drop truck, or they've hired someone, or they have used some sort of tractor jig. So that's why I'm making this one today. As you can see here in this photo, we did a tripod, which worked extremely well. It actually worked a lot better than I thought. I also wouldn't recommend doing this without too much help. Just in case something goes wrong, it's nice to have a little bit of extra help there. And then also a lot of prior planning. So in this next picture, you'll see on top of the well, basically we placed a two-sided jig. So it's two half-inch thick pieces of plastic. You could use metal, wood, but I like this hard plastic. It worked really well. Basically, we bolted the two pieces together, and you can see the cords running from the top are the wire, and then also we did a drop rope, which I'm not sure is necessarily needed, but it was just peace of mind for me. And then the left upper side of the picture, you'll see a little piece of white pipe coming off. Basically, that white pipe stops the drop pipe in the middle from going over to that side, because that side has a larger hole than the one in the middle where the pipe currently is. And I can draw a picture and include that right here so you can kind of see what's going on. So to kind of explain what the well issue was, this next photo you'll see we have a Morrison style head. So what that means is the water comes up through the top and then down back to your house. And we live in Wisconsin where the ground freezes. So this could actually be bad because it could freeze during the winter. It's not supposed to, but you never know. Definitely when you have water above surface in the winter. And the theory here is the water would drop back down the well. And this causes bacteria because there's air in your lines, so it's not good. It also, you have to have a certain style pressure tank, where when we installed the new pressure tank, this is where we actually found the problem, because it would not get up to pressure. Here's another photo of the Morrison style head. So you can see on the bottom of that head, when you remove that from the well, it's going to weigh about 200 pounds or more, depending on how much pipe you have down the well, because it's hooked directly to the head, where a pitless adapter is hooked below the surface down to your pitless, which we'll be putting in. Here's the well casing, 6-inch well, pretty standard. And then here is the pump. As you can see, all the line had quite a bit of gunk on it, and the pump actually still worked. And here is my friend that came over with an excavator. He was able to dig this in probably 30 minutes to an hour, so it went really, really well. It was about an 8-foot hole. Here's the hole down to the house. We also used some tar that we picked up at our local Menards or Home Depot, and we put that against the blocks just to make sure they were sealed good. And we used I want to say it was an 1.25 inch bit to go through the basement, and then we used that tar to seal it up on the outside. And then we ran poly from that hole to the pitless adapter, which we drilled with a wood saw bit. We really thought that the wood bit was not going to go through the casing, but what we did is we used some old oil, and it literally went through the casing no problem. So I would highly recommend just using a wood bit for that. It went really, really well. Just make sure it's the exact size for your pitless. Here's another photo of the hole that we dug. As you can see, it doesn't look super big, but it was a huge hole. And then we filled it back up. And yeah, now I'll go to the video part. Hope you enjoy, and hopefully this video helps you, as this worked very well for me, and I would definitely do this again in the future. So we have to go about 15 feet. Let me back up here a little bit from the well to the house. So I have a buddy of mine coming out to dig the trench. You can rent a digger if you wanted to, but just be really careful. Don't accidentally push against your basement, because you could put a hole in it, and this is a block basement, so we're going to be careful there. The other thing is
with dropping schedule 80 pipe down in a well, we're going to make a jig. I haven't seen anyone online with a jig that you could do it by hand, but we're going to attempt it today. And basically what is this thick plastic. So this is about a 1/2 inch thick. It was out of a dump truck, just a little piece. We're going to double it up. That's going to go on top of the well, and then we'll put a hole in there. One hole be the size of the fitting, and the other hole will be the size of the 1-inch drop pipe. And we're using schedule 80 drop pipe. Now the other thing is, as far as the joints, I've seen a couple people do multiple different things. Some people use glue their joints and let it harden. And some people do not do that, and they do more of the pipe dope. I think we're going to do the pipe dope. We're not going to put the torque arrestor on it. I don't think it's needed, but I don't think it's also a bad thing, so you could go either way on that. And then we're going to do 2-wire. We got 300 feet of wire, so that should be enough. So I had quoted this job through a plumber or through a well guy, and he had originally told me $3,500, and then he upped his price to $4,500. So I basically told him I'm going to do it myself. I know a lot of DIYers are looking to do things themselves today in today's market, just because of prices and stuff. So definitely not something you'd want to try without some guidance. However, definitely possible to do it by yourself, depending on your well depth. This is one of the deeper wells around here. We're in northern Wisconsin, so a lot of sand country, and most people's wells are 40 to 60 feet deep, I feel like. But there's also a handful of people that get stuck with granite wells like ours. So also, since we're in Wisconsin, it freezes, we're going to put 2-inch foam over top of the poly running from the well to the house. So yeah, anyway, stay tuned. We're going to get the digger here in an hour or so, and then we're going to start digging up the yard.
So this hole here was the old jet pump. It was located right next to the well. We actually found this after we bought the property. You'll see us removing all the utilities inside of it, and this well is abandoned.
Alright, so we're done for the first day, and we started backfilling the hole where we put the pitless in, and now we're just getting ready, day 2, to drop down the pipe. So here's you can see everything's backfilled in. There is a big pile of dirt yet, we'll put that on top. And then now we have this tripod. Basically, we're going to put the rope and the wire up through it, and that'll make sure we don't drop the pump down the hole. And then also we're going to make a jig. I'll show you the jig tomorrow once it's done.
It's on brake. Brake comes when we get to this coupler.
So now we're dropping the pipe. Basically, we just are taking electrical tape to every 4 or 5 feet to tape the wire and rope to the pipe. One thing here, do not cheap out on electrical tape. It really doesn't take that much. We did 200 feet, and I think we used like 2 rolls. So it is very important to have a really high quality tape. I'll recommend 3M, because we had bought cheap stuff and it did not stick. So I ended up having to run back to Menards. Definitely worth buying extra. And then also, we made a little spool, as you can see on the right side behind my father-in-law. There is the spool with the rope and wire, which was nice because it helped guide things down. So now that we got to the end of the pipe, we're going to do this last taping, and then we're going to put the top there with the fitting on top of that jig. So we put all the fittings on the pipe before we dropped it down, at least on one side, and that fitting goes up through the tripod first, and you'll see us put a pipe up through the tripod. And yes, I had plenty of help, so it made it pretty relaxing, which was really nice.
Can you give us some wire?
So there you put the pipe up through the tripod, and then here we're just going to screw it in. We were rookies doing this, so it did take us, obviously, fairly long, couple hours. But if you've done this a couple times, it would probably only take you about a half hour.
You ain't getting that much wire.
He's only gonna be 40 feet high, like everyone else.
No, 40 area.
Okay, 60, like everyone else. Right, and I'll still have enough for 60.
That pipe rope stuff, Scott, is good, right? Putting it right in the water, right?
Yep.
That's what he said.
Uh,
That's what Logan said.
okay. I know I've seen. I know when we do shit at work, them guys, they fucking put it on there and do like dialysis shit. And then I'll start running.
So here we use pipe wrenches to tighten it up on top of the jig. And
As long as it says
when you're tightening it, don't go too tight, obviously, but make sure it's tight enough where that motor,
it's good for water.
when it kicks on, it's not going to unscrew your pipe. And that's the point of the torque arrestor. So nothing,
Five.
so the power of the pump isn't wrecking your pipe.
5-minute break.
Pull up.
Alright, so I'm just going to let the video play out here so you can see us dropping some more down. But basically what happened when we had the 10-20 foot sticks down the well, which put the pump roughly at 204 feet, we used the last stick and we screwed it into the top of the pitless adapter. Unfortunately, I did not get on video, and we lowered it down to the pitless. At that point, you definitely want all hands on deck because you're going to remove that fixture. And to remove that fixture, you unscrew all 4 bolts, and then since we had cuts in each side, you just basically twist it off. And that's why we use the plastic, so you can bend it, where metal would be a little tougher since it isn't as malleable. As far as getting it in the pitless, it was kind of hard to see on a bright sunny day, but we did get it in there without dropping it. And at this point, you also want to make sure to keep your wire and rope all the way connected through the tripod. That way you do not drop the pump down. If you ever drop the pump down, it will be a bad day. Hopefully you can get it out, but some people can't, so they leave it at the bottom of their well.
My idea was to lay it out in the yard.
Alrighty, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Give it a like, thumbs up, and best luck if you have to ever change your well out.
No way. He wants.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. Inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep inside